He was just completely flabbergasted that this is possible. He said, so you don't code?
It's a case where you're not coding, but the AI is coding for you. Absolutely nothing to do at all with coding.
Is this kind of a toy like version of an app build out, or is this like a legitimate app that you're building here?
Oh, this is absolutely a legitimate app. I wouldn't say that this is something you can use for a production pipeline. It's just so easy to do these things right that if you're not doing it, companies will notice. You really don't need to code to start building something useful with AI now. You just need to be clear about what you want. In my experience, you can get started today.
Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us. My name is Lior from Exploring ChatGPT, and I'm joined by my friend Andrea. How's it going?
Oh, hey, Leo. No, it's great to be here. And hi, everyone. I'm Andrea, and I write the Art of Asking Questions on Substack. And in my day job, I'm a management and strategy consultant.
And today it's going to be the art of building AI apps with no code. That sounds like fun to me. I think a lot of people want to know how to build apps and build certain things now. And a lot of people are aware you don't necessarily have to know how to code. And some people aren't aware yet. So I'll just give a quick background from my personal experience of speaking to people that are outside of this world. And then I kind of want to see what you got for us today and just follow along and ask questions. This is the art of asking questions after all. I'll just give a quick example. I had a use case. I'm actually building an app right now for a family member to help with their business. I won't get into too much detail, but when I spoke to him about it, he was just completely flabbergasted that this is possible. And I actually sat there on a FaceTime with him and I showed him exactly how I'm doing it. And he said, so you don't code? I'm like, no, I don't code. You gave me the idea that you need for your business. I thought it was a great idea. We know what we want. So now we just tell AI what we want and we build the app for you. So it's a beautiful time to be living right now. And I'll let Andrea get into it.
Yeah, and actually what you've described is it's a case where you're not coding, but the AI is coding for you. Whereas what we'll be doing today is something that has absolutely nothing to do at all with coding. So what we'll do is what's called no-code apps. So the idea is that you don't need anything at all installed in your computer. You don't need to download anything. And what we'll do today is a bit of an experiment. We're going to live build 2 apps with you. And I think that by the end, you'll have watched the whole thing done from start to finish. And honestly, I think everybody will be able to go and build their own version of these apps or something else later today.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's get into it. Now, this is no code at all. Slightly different to what I was just referencing that I was doing. Because at the end of the day, it's like even like the human signal here in the chat. Took so many programming classes. Now just click one button. So yeah, you do see the AI writing the code in the example that I gave, but Andrea is actually talking about a no code app built out. So this is going to be cool to see live.
Yeah. And the interesting here is that it's all done on a free tool. The tool is made by Amazon. It's called PartyRock. It's something that runs in your browser. All you need to do is sign in with an account. It can be an Amazon account or Google or a few other options. And then essentially you just build apps by clicking around and then describing what you want in plain English, and similar to how you would prompt any AI chatbot. And yeah, I'll give you a bit more background on what this actually means. Because as I was saying, building an app usually sounds like something you need a computer science degree for. Yeah, we're definitely not doing that. And like I was saying, there's no code at all involved. So the idea is that it's all hosted online in this graphical interface. You don't need any technical understanding. So the main point here is that this is a starting point for everybody. So if you're at all curious about AI apps, but the idea of dealing with code feels a bit intimidating, this is, in my experience, the absolute smoothest way in. Because nothing will break. There's no libraries, dependencies, programming languages, and you do really get your results, your working result in minutes. And I think the actual prize when you finish is confidence. So, yeah, shall we start exploring what this looks like?
Sure. Just a quick question on my end for you. Like, so you gave a quick background on this. I noticed on my end, of course, I wasn't doing a no code build, and I wasn't the one coding, but is this kind of a quote unquote toy like version of an app build out, or is this like a legitimate app that you're building here?
Oh, this is absolutely a legitimate app. So what you see later today is something that you would actually use. These are apps that they work. So in some cases, you could consider these apps as a starting point to then start doing more complex things. But that really depends on what it is that you want to do or you need to do or achieve. The apps will build, they are standalone apps and they do the job. So there are cases where you genuinely need something more complex. Say you need to do loads and loads of calculations or you need a database involved. In those cases, you do need something more complex and better. For many use cases, you don't need that Claude Code setup or Codex or whatever else. And what we see today is absolutely fine. It is an end result. It's something that you can use. And as a matter of fact, for my day job, I have built a few apps in PartyRock that I use regularly.
Awesome. Awesome. I see some questions in the chat. We'll get into that a little bit later. We'll answer. In the meantime, I want you to hop into this and show us this build out.
Okay, great. Okay, so today we are going to build two apps. So the first one I would say is genuinely useful. It's a job application coach. So the idea that you feed it a job app, a CV, your CV, and your cover letter, and it tells you honestly how good a fit you are, and it helps you fix any weak bits, if any, and if they're fixable, of course, based on your experience. And then it even goes off and researches the company for you so that you can prepare for an eventual interview. And the second app will build is a bit more fun. It's a trip planner that helps you write an itinerary, and then it generates an image poster to match the itinerary. So it's more to show the breadth of things that you can do.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see it.
Yeah, let's start with the job coach. And I think at this point, I should be sharing my screen. So give me a second as I open PartyRock. So there you go. So you should see my PartyRock screen now. So as I said, all you've got to do for this is sign up, and the sign up is completely free. So yeah, I'm already logged in. So yeah, that's my login up there. And so the idea here is imagine that you have found the job that you want. You've got the job ad, you can save it as a PDF, and you've developed a CV and the covering letter, F Word or whatever format is suitable. And normally you would just send it off in hope. And what we'll do today instead is build a little app that reads all three. So the job ad, the CV, the covering letter, and then plays the part of an honest hiring manager and tells you where you're strong, where you're weak, and what you can fix. And then also helps you fix what can be fixed. Let me start the interface here. So as you can see here, it says create an app. So I just go on and click that. This is an AI assistant. You can get PartyRock to create apps for you. I don't want to do that. That's probably too easy. Let's go the slightly more complicated way, which is still extremely simple. So I'll click create an app manually. So let me close this whiskers thing. There's the AI assistant. So we've got this clean canvas. And what we want to do is feed in, as I was saying, three documents. So if I hover, you can see here it says create widget. So I just click that, and you see there's lots of options for widgets that you can create. And here, as I was saying, we want to upload some files. So I click that. Oh, didn't click. File upload. So this one I will call job description. I won't put any instructions, but you can put them in. And then I'll close it. So as you can see, we already have a facility to upload a file. Then I resized it just so that we can put all of them up here together. I'll click again and I put another file upload, and this one will be CB. Make it a bit smaller. And we can put the last one there, another file upload, and we'll call this cover letter. So we've got space at the top for these 3 documents. And what we'll do now is we'll create an AI widget. So the idea here, these are AI apps. So I'll create another widget, and this one is an AI output widget. So we want it to tell us something. So as you can see, it can read fields. So I'll just show you how it works before we paste in some text. So I prepared some text to put in here. But if you press at, oh sorry, I'm on my Mac, you can see that it can reference other widgets. So at CV. So I prepared some text that we should copy and paste in here. So let me grab that, I'll copy it and paste it in there. So as you can see, this is an AI prompt, and you can see here the ads. So I'll just populate the ads, and then we can read it. So the prompt here is quite straightforward. You are an experienced hiring manager reviewing a candidate for a specific role. So I'm telling the AI what role it should play. Read the role in job description, the candidate CV, and the cover letter. And you can see that these are linked. Can you see how they are highlighted on the left-hand side panel? So we can confirm that the system is all wired up. And then we're asking to assess how well this candidate fits the specific job. Be fair but honest, do not flatter, don't be needlessly harsh, base every point on evidence from the document, and so on and so forth. Interestingly here, let's name this, it should be called review. And what's interesting here that you can also pick an AI model. So there's various options here. I'll leave it on Claude Sonnet for the time being. And here you can pick other options as well. On this, we don't need the internet because it's reviewing 3 documents, so we don't want it to bring in any information that would pollute the response, but we do want it to think deeply because the idea here is that we want a very reliable answer. So as you can see, we've developed a prompt and the AI model has been chosen. So I'll close this, and here it says fill in the job description, CV, and cover letter to generate content. I'll make this a bit bigger so that later we can see what it says. Now, what we'll create next is a chatbot, because we want a bit of a career coach functionality here that helps us update or fix our CV. So I'll click create widget again, and this will be chatbox. So I will call it coach. And again, I've got some text I can copy and paste here. We need to wire it up. So we've got the job description, we've got the candidate's CV, and their cover letter. But now we also have the assessment in the review. That's
Just
very important.
quick question, Andrea, here
Of course.
for people watching. The text that you're copying and pasting in here, where did you get that from?
Oh, I just made it myself. So yeah, it's a prompt that I found to be effective at this task. But yeah, it's something that I made myself. So yeah, you do need to write your own prompts for this sort of thing.
Okay. I mean,
And
you typically also get AI to write the prompt for you.
absolutely, by all means. So yeah, you could get this generated in your own ChatGPT or Claude or whatever else and put it in here. And the only thing that you have to do manually is then to wire up all the inputs in this AI app. So yeah, by all means, you can do that.
Awesome.
And then here under advanced, we pick the model. I'll leave Claude Sonnet as well. So there we go. So I'll close this again, and I'll make it a bit bigger because we want to be able to read. And finally, as I was saying, we'll add a bit of market research functionality, which is quite helpful because this shows you the fact that this setup can also browse the internet. So this will be, again, an AI output, and I will call it competitor research. And then let's put in a prompt for that as well. There we go. And this one is mainly based on the job description, because what we're saying is that We wanted to find real currently operating companies that are direct competitors or close peers of the kind of business that's described in the job description. And then we're asking for examples, genuine companies that the candidate could realistically study, and also explaining why they should be looked at. So again, this prompt is something that I generated myself. And here again, I need to pick the model, and I do need to give it permission to search the internet in this case, because we want it to source reliable information for us. And then that's pretty much it. You've got your app. I think it was pretty easy. What do you think, Leo?
It looks pretty easy to me. So even before you started this, right now you're doing this manually, but there was the AI option with Whiskers, I believe it was called, right?
Yeah.
Now this is completely free. So I'm assuming whatever models it's linking to are also free models. Like you mentioned, you plugged
Uh,
in Claude Sonnet here, right?
no, so they're not free models. And the potential challenge here is that usage here is limited. So every user has unlimited allowance every day. So you can't use it as much as you like. But Claude Sonnet is not a free model. So
Oh,
this is, you have usage. But personally, I have never run into usage limitations. Now, clearly, if this is something you would use at scale, then you should consider using Amazon Bedrock or some of the more sophisticated Amazon offerings, or by all means, make your own thing using Claude Code, Codex, or anything else. So,
okay.
I wouldn't say that this is something you can use for a production pipeline, for example. That wouldn't be quite appropriate.
Understood. Yeah, I only asked because I when you started, you mentioned that PartyRock itself is free. I'm
It
sure they
is.
have paid options as well.
I'm not sure actually. It's
Huh.
probably something to check in the settings, but it might mean that it's only available for free. And if you want to do anything more sophisticated, you've got to find something else. But you might be right. So that's probably one to check.
Okay. Okay.
So should we demo it?
Yeah, let's do it.
So to demo it, I have asked Claude to generate a job description, CV, and covering letter for us. So let me go ahead and upload them. So we've got job description first. And as you can see, this is also updated. Fill in CV and cover letter. Now we'll put in the CV, and you can see fill in cover letter to generate content. And now we put the cover letter. And there we go. Play up, and it will start thinking. So competitor research to its research. The coach is waiting for the review, which is what we've asked it to do. And this, you can see, this is the thinking pipeline from Claude. What I can say about this CV and job description is that the job description is more senior than the CV that we put in. So as you can see, the fit is not great. And in particular here, there's a few positives, but also a few mismatches. So for example, as I was saying, the profile is too junior in terms of the budget scope. This is what the job requires, is people who can manage 400,000 pounds of marketing budget, whereas the CV mentioned a much smaller amount. So I can tell you that this is pretty accurate as a fit. So this wouldn't be an especially strong fit. So what we can do now is ask the coach to do something for us. For example, we write a paragraph about my lack of management experience, so it sounds confident but honest. And then what it'll do is, here's the original, here's why it's not good, and here's how it can be rewritten. Now, clearly, you should never take something from AI without checking it, but I can tell you from my knowledge. Oh, interesting. Click all the curtains. Yeah. But I can tell you it's a pretty good rewrite on here, and it's giving you even a before and after and why it's been changed. And as you can see, the competitor research is also running. Oh, and there you go. It's populating. So it's identified a number of potential comparators. Yeah, these are all the footnotes with links. So I don't know, for example, Gymshark is one of them. You click it. As you can see, these are fully functioning links. Let me try one more. There you go. And it's explaining why are these links relevant to that position. So, yeah, if you prepare for an interview, you can look at other competitors based on the research done and go from there. Obviously, what these chatbot and competitor research boxes do, as you can see, we've just decided ourselves what they should do. So you could make them do lots of different other things.
It's really interesting because I think what you mentioned before about in terms of lack of management experience, and you mentioned to the coach, I believe it was, make my lack of management experience look better on paper, right? That's, I think, where the bias comes in as well with AI, where if you told it that you didn't feel like the lack of management experience on paper was an issue, it wouldn't find it to be an issue. So this is where it still comes into your personal touch and fixing what you feel it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, no, naturally, yeah. I think a lot of this, like every interaction with AI, what you put into it needs to be reasonably careful. And yeah, you need to watch out for bias, for misinterpretation, and for anything that could be misleading. So yeah, there are some limitations, but yeah, compared to just submitting an application without any sort of checks or having a chat with Claude every time you build an application, this is so much easier. And for example, if you're looking for jobs actively at the moment, I would say definitely build something like this. It doesn't need to be this specifically, but if you're sending 3, 4, 10 applications a week, you do need something like this. Because these days, sometimes as a hiring manager, sometimes when I receive application and I find really bad mistakes, it's very off-putting because as a hiring manager, you think about, did people run it through run it through ChatGPT to identify any errors or type? It's just so easy to do these things right that if you're not doing it, companies will notice. And if there's somebody else who did do it and did a better job, they're more likely to pick them. So, yeah, I think something like this I find very useful. Another use case for this is to assess bids. I work in consulting, and so often there are opportunities in the public domain that issue an invitation to tender that explains what the client wants. And you can have embedded in this a description of what you do. And then you upload the invitation to tender, and it automatically tells you this is a good fit for you, or this is far too far from your typical areas of expertise. So don't waste your time bidding. And it's genuinely helpful. And I think this type of no code app is especially useful when you have a highly repeatable task. So something that always looks the same, but yeah, you need different feedback depending on what you're putting in.
I think it comes down to a balance as well. Like what you mentioned as a hiring manager. They probably don't want to see too much on either end. They don't want to see simple mistakes, and they also don't want to see an application that looks like it was completely generated by AI without any human review.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is more about making so you do the work, you put it in for checking, and you make improvements based
Yeah,
on the feedback. So it's not AI doing the application for you. And by the way,
awesome.
let me put the link to the finished app. So we'll share this alongside an article when Leo posts this on YouTube. And just to show you, this has got a bit more information. And but yeah, it's the exact same app that you've just seen.
That's
So
really
yeah, you
cool.
can access it now from the chat.
Yeah, that's awesome that you can build the app, then you have a link you can share to anybody.
Yeah. And by the way, something quite cool is that you can take somebody's app and remix it. So let me show you. There's this bit here. No, sorry, which one is it? One of them is called It's not copy, might be this one, but it's not showing me on Hover. No, that's for sharing. So yeah, it might be that it's this one. Yeah, create a copy. You can yeah, that's the remix one. Yeah, create a copy. And then you can do whatever you want with it. So you can take
Wow,
my app, click remix, and make the edits that you want.
awesome, awesome. So maybe we'll answer a couple questions in the chat before you
Yeah,
move on to the next app.
sounds good.
Awesome.
So let
Okay.
me stop screen sharing for now then, and we can look at the questions.
Yeah, awesome. We'll answer a couple questions and then we'll move on here to the next app. So the human signal asks, can they link to bank accounts? I think it's an interesting one.
No, this can't link to bank accounts. Actually, I doubt most AI apps can link to bank accounts. It's a very sophisticated security management there. So yeah, I don't think you can do that easily.
Yeah, you might need something a little more advanced, maybe get into a cursor or something like that. Waleed says, can I build a production level website and mobile app using Claude Code? I would say yes.
Yeah.
This is, I think this is more just like of a streamlined, basic way for anybody to build an app that is just instantly shareable within minutes. The platform is PartyRock for those that were asking. Let's see. Dr. Linda Marie, can I feed it a livable script for a site I've already built?
I wouldn't think so in here. It can't access the internet.
Oh, lovable. Sorry.
I'm not quite sure. Or is it
I
meant
think
to
she
be
meant
lovable?
lovable. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you could put anything in here that's more sophisticated than files. Like you could see on screen earlier, it supports PDF, docx, pptx, HTML, CSV, JSON, but not just say a Python script or anything like that. So I wouldn't think so personally. It might be, yeah, livable, yeah, what's lovable. So yeah, I don't think you can put that in here. You could put that into Cloud Code or Codex, but not into this platform.
Okay, cool. I guess we can move on to the next app build, which is the trip planner. I
Great,
I
exciting.
will say just quickly on my end, I think the most interesting thing about this to me is the speed of it. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
simple. You're not building some amazing app that people can link their bank accounts and XYZ, but it's I think the fact that it's so streamlined that you can just share it, anybody can copy your link and then also build on top of it is pretty special.
Yeah, and let me show you something else as well. So you can see this in flow mode. When you start thinking about it, this is a pretty complicated app. If you look at how the fields are connected, and this is something we put together in a few minutes. So this can be as sophisticated as you want it to be. So it could have a bunch of consecutive outputs. So for example, here the review step could have been linked to another AI generation step. Based on the review, then create this and that. And based on that, then do this other thing and then create an image and then take that image and do so and so with it. So it can't achieve customized complexity, but if you stay within the set of inputs that you're given here, then the flow of the app that you build can actually be pretty complex and multi-step.
Yeah. Just to answer a couple more questions before we move on to the
Yeah.
next one. So people are asking if the recording will be available. First of all, yes, there's a YouTube channel, which I'll link later. The YouTube channel does clip and shorten the whole podcast, but Andrea will post an article as well, which will give you full instructions. And also, Andrea, feel free if you want to post the whole podcast on Substack as well. Okay, so I
There was
got
just a question on what's the percentage of hallucination, the same as any other usage, I would say. So if this is using Claude Sonnet, it would be the same percentage of hallucination that Claude Sonnet typically has. The positive here is that it's not making too many things up because you're feeding into it a specific file. This is similar to retrieval augmented generation or RAG. So it's the idea that it builds a response based on documents or data it has access to. So it's a lot harder for this box, for example, to hallucinate compared to just asking a random chatbot to do it for you,
yeah,
because here you are clearly anchoring the response to the files.
that's a good question. Okay, should we move on to the next app, Andrea?
Great. Yes. So let's go back to home and we'll create a new app. Again, I'll kindly ask Whiskers to step aside so that we can play with it. So yeah, the second app is lighter, I would say a bit more fun, and it's more to show the breadth of what you can build. So the idea is that we want to tell it where we want to travel and tell it a little bit about our trip, and then it will write us a proper day by day plan And then as a little flourish, it will paint us a travel poster to match the trip it just planned for you. So yeah, my inputs feed a plan and the plan feeds an image. So what we'll do here is we'll create two text input widgets. So one of them will be the destination, and I'll pre-fill it here to say Paris. This is not mandatory, but it just makes it easier to run. So as you can see, it's showing Paris by default, but then you can just delete it if you want to go elsewhere, so to say. And then we'll put another widget called trip details. So this is literally just text that you put in here. And then we want to create an AI output step. So let me pick my prompt that I prepared for this. So we'll tell it plan a trip to destination, as you'd expect, based on the traveler's note in trip detail. Produce a realistic day by day itinerary that matches the number of days and blah blah blah. So we're just asking it to create a trip for us. And then here, yeah, we want to call this itinerary, and we want to tell it that it's allowed to search the internet because we wouldn't want any silly suggestions. Usually AI generation would be based on its memory. It's not going to suggest that the Colosseum is in Paris, but there might be some smaller hallucinations in there. So the next widget we'll make is not AI output, it's an image output. And what we'll tell it to do is a vivid, beautifully composed travel poster capturing the trip to a destination and reflecting the mood and highlights described in itinerary. Vintage travel poster style, just my choice. And I've asked it to do no text or lettering in the image because usually AI creates pretty horrible text. Not all the time, but if it's free, I can't recall if you can pick a model, but actually, there's only Amazon Nova Canvas. So I don't know the quality of it, but I wouldn't bet on its text generation capabilities. So make this a bit larger so we can see the entire poster. And then we can put a bit of description on the trip details. So we could say, let me get some copy from there. 4 days, traveling as a couple, lost food and market, bit of history, relaxed space, mid-range budget, at least one great viewpoint. Now, the more detailed it is, the better, in that if you give it more detail, then it will give you a better response. And then, as you can see, these ones, they're not asking you, please upload X, Y, to play, but they do require these two. But for example, if you remove Paris, it will ask you to fill in destination to generate content. So let me click play and see what it does. So this one is waiting on itinerary because, as we said in the instructions, it relied on that. And the itinerary is doing a bit of research just to make sure that it gives us some decent recommendations. So let's see what happens. Yeah, there you go. So 4-day Paris itinerary for 2 is coming up. Naturally, because this is AI, every time you rerun it, it will give you slightly different things. So that could also be a good idea to find new options. And enjoy every moment. Paris rewards those who slow down. That is absolutely true. And there you go. This is actually, I would say it's pretty realistic. I've not compared it to anything real, but and it did respect our instruction to make this vintage travel poster style with rich colors. Obviously it's an AI generated image. You can download it if you like, but there you go. Again, in just a few minutes, we were able to create an app, run it, and play with it. And let me now put a link to this one as well in the chat. This can again be remixed if you like, but I will be sharing it as part of our collaborative articles when the video is ready as well.
Awesome. Really cool. Yeah, I will say for me, my main takeaway from this is how streamlined it is. I think it's a bit like before coming into the stream and reading over what we were going to present here, I thought to myself, what's stopping somebody from just doing this in a chatbot? I think we just got the answer there. I think it's like how it's spitting out the results for you based on you have this widget and then it builds that for you, whether it was a job application or now this. I think this was even a little bit simpler. So now I'm just in my head thinking, what else is possible with this?
Yeah.
What's in your head? What's like a more, let's call it complicated use case? Maybe something that you've done in your workplace with this.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think assessing opportunities for is this a good fit for what I do? So I was saying in terms of as a consultant, deciding is this project a good fit for what my company does? And are there competitors who could do this better? Then I think something like that is very valuable. Another way to use it is to create a structured way to extract information from a document. So, say you're looking at a bunch of, let's say, academic articles or reports, and you want to extract from all of them a given section. The having the prompt embedded in there enables you to extract things in a very reliable way and with very little effort, because clearly Cloud Code could do as good a job. But that's Python. You need either cursor, as you were saying, or Visual Studio Code or something else. It's generally a lot harder. And another thing that actually I didn't mention earlier is that you can create snapshots. So basically, once you've run it, say that wonderful trip to Paris, you can share a snapshot with somebody. So basically, what you're seeing on screen gets saved in a snapshot and you can send it to somebody else. And that's very useful. And especially for me at work, if I assess, say, a proposal, is this fit for our company? Then I can share it with colleagues and they can see the assessment. So, yeah, that's another piece of functionality that's really valuable.
Awesome. Okay. I think before we wrap, let's answer some more chat questions here. Before we do, I'll link the YouTube channel. You can copy paste that, or you can go to YouTube, type in exploring ChatGPT Live. You'll find the videos there as well as videos with other creators covering a whole bunch of AI related topics. So let's see if there's anything that stands out to you, Andrea, in the chat. Feel free to point it out. So again, the app that is being used is called PartyRock, and I think it's awesome. If I just hand this over to my wife, let's say, who does nothing with AI, she could build an app on her own pretty easily. And you can also just use Whiskers if you don't want to manually build
Yeah.
it. And then you can edit and remix it from there. Let's see. The
And that's
human
a question
signal.
about
Sure.
does it build on your past data used inside the app? And the answer to that is no. So every time you rerun it, it runs a clean version of the app. So, but something that's probably worth sharing, and let me see if I can show you quickly again, is that you can give it an extent of permanent memory in that if you go, so let me find my apps. So apps there, I'll just pick one of the ones we've just made. And so here you can add another widget. So just, sorry, I need to go in edit mode. Yep. Create a new widget. So if you can make something called static text, and in here you can put in Markdown whatever you want. So you can say, I'm a consultant that works in this field or that field, or whatever matters. And you can create permanence in that way. So essentially, this helps you avoid uploading, say, past knowledge file every time. So you could just put something in there, and then in the text you can reference it like everything else. And then, yeah, that's called widget zero. I didn't name it, but you can easily reference text. So in a way, you can, up to a point, create, I don't want to call it memory, but a bit of permanence.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I guess we could wrap it up there. I think that we covered this pretty well. Again, for everybody that wants to try it, it's called Party Rock. Really cool. Thank you, Andrea. Anything else you want to add?
Just a final reflection. It's, as we were saying earlier, the idea here is that you really don't need to code to start building something useful with AI now. You just need to be clear about what you want. And what you want can be quite simple. There are lots of things in our everyday lives that can be made easier or better with AI. And I would encourage you to play around with it and see what happens. And the other thing is that the actual skill here is, yeah, as we were saying, it's not technical, it's describing the job well. So as you've seen earlier, there was that flow view, and you need to know what's connected to what and make sure that wherever a connection is relevant, you bring it in. And then, as Leo was saying, you need to write decent prompts, but these days you don't even have to write them yourself. You can probably get Whiskers to write them for you, or your AI of choice. So yeah, that's the whole game. And yeah, in my experience, you can get started today.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. I really appreciate you, Andrea, putting this together for us. Definitely takes some time to prepare, as easy as this build out was. So yeah, just thank you very much, Andrea. Hopefully I'll be seeing you soon again. Thank you to everybody in the chat. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Leo.
Bye now.